We're now entering the end game of this pledge. Bloodbath Diablos has been spotted, and it's time to hunt it with the Eye of the Hunter. Welcome back, classy crew, to the ending journals of this pledge to completely defeat Bloodbath Diablos with every weapon and prove myself as an Omni Hunter. I'm happy to say, one down, Bloodbath Diablos has been slain with the switch axe. Last time I ended the journal on a bit of a sour note, where I just felt completely defeated, beholden to the powers of these deviants, and I just felt like I couldn't progress. And honestly, I think it was just the weapon problem, because I just switched out to the switch axe, buffed that thing up to an endgame switch axe, and the deviants fell one after the other, and then Bloodbath fell after he carded me 5 times, but hey, he still fell. And so here we are now entering the hardest part of my pledge, which is going to be to defeat Bloodbath Diablos 13 more times, this time not using the switch axe. So this is going to be a chunky, meaty journal. Lots of good stuff to cover, starting with the preparation. So last time I was like, oh, I got to go back and try taking on these deviants with a switch axe. And actually, before I get any further, I have to say, if I sound funny, I'm just recovering from a pretty nasty cold I got, which also happens to be the moment I defeated Bloodbath Diablos. I ended up with a really high fever the next day. And if you know anything about Bloodbath Diablos, he is a steamy boy in the way that he just heats up a lot. So I always have this really weird thing that happens to me in the real world as I'm doing pledges in Monster Hunter. Like when I was fighting Velkhana, my PC froze. It had never frozen before, but the scene where it shows up and it like freezes everything, my PC froze during that scene. As I was farming out Arc-Tempered Velkhana, I was dying time after time, and I ended up in the hospital during the month that I was fighting Arc-Tempered Velkhana. And I still to this day have like these wounds, these scars on my abdomen, which kind of match up with how its tail would look like if it pretty much stabbed me in the gut. It's just a really weird coincidence. And now becoming sick after fighting Bloodbath Diablos, I'm just like, these are very strange coincidences, which scientifically have no reason that they are correlated. But hey, it's kind of fun to believe that things happening in Monster Hunter World is impacting me in the real world. Kind of weird, eh? So anyways, switch axe. I was working off this, the one that you just buy on the market, entering G rank, which wasn't good enough. I was going to go the Brachydios route, but then I started like planning out what I would need to build the super Brachydios axe. I was like, holy heck, that's like 4 hours of grinding alone. What are my other option? And people are always recommending the Atal Call weapon. So I'm like, okay, let's go and do that. And do that I did. Plus, I need to farm out my gunner set for a tall cost. So I'm like, I'm going to be fighting this thing many, many times. I might as well, get some weapons out of it. Had to go off on side missions to go and get the parts I needed to fully upgrade my switch axe, including Devil Joe. I needed some Devil Joe spit from high rank, so I got some of his spit. There was a big monkey involved, which I was not expecting to go fight back the big monkey. Oh man, I hate monkeys. But once I was all decked out and now my full gear, full switch axe built, I went back up against Soul Seer Mizutsune. And as I expect, I'm like, oh, it would probably be easier to like dance around a monster that moves as fast as Soul Seer Mizutsune with a switch axe. And I was right. In fact, I was having such a grand time, I ended up killing it by accident within 15 minutes, roughly. It was around the 15-20 minute mark. And I was caught so off guard to have killed the deviant so fast. I was just surprised it died. And if you remember, the G1 quests are all about capturing. So I pulled in my friends. I was like, let's go. I don't want to have to hunt this solo again. Let's just go and capture it multiplayer, because I could show now that I can slay it. I just had too much power in the switch axe. After that, I took on my first Elder Frost Gammoth. I don't remember the name this time. And it was comparably easier, I felt, than like my first G rank Gammoth. She does less of the like blowing snow around her on her legs and stuff. What I felt was the real new gimmick. She plows through the field like crazy. I was going to make a your mom joke there, but I figured that was not mature. So that's a pretty easy move to dodge. And then she also like sucks and blows through her trunk in a very strong way. Like she vacuums you up like there's no business. Like you're trying to run around, she's like, get over here, and just sucks you up and then pounds you or sits on you, whatever she prefers. So overall, this wasn't too bad of a fight with switch axe. I was just pretty much like hanging out around her legs and just like boop boop. Oh, and I'm in adept mode the whole time, so I'm just dancing around, chopping everything. This one took me 25-30 minutes. She has a lot of HP, so overall, I'm pretty happy with how this one went. And I did get to capture her. I did not kill her. I saw that she was limping, set the trap. And the best move, she used her butt stomp in the trap. So she sat down in the trap, and I'm just like, boop, boop, captured the elephant. Then Bolt Reaver. So I was like, there's no way I'm taking all 3 Deviants down the same night. Like, I was aiming for Soul Seer and Elder Frost, but I'm like, whatever. Let's take on Bolt Reaver and see how we do. And once again, maneuvering with the Switch X felt so much more comfortable with Bolt Reaver. Once again, this boy went down in 25-30 minutes. He was a really good, challenging fight. I know he gets way harder if I go EX form, but I'm not interested in that right now. It was a thrilling fight. Happy I did it, but I was ready to move on after I took him on. And this whole time, like before taking on Bolt Reaver, so Bolt Reaver was my final deviant to unlock Bloodbath. And when I came back from the Elder Frost fight, the pub manager is starting to talk about like the legendary Bloodbath Diablos, and they're like starting to drum up the hype for him. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like they're already building up some backstory as to why he's such a deviant fiend, if you will. And then after Bolt Reaver, the music in the pub changes to the Bloodbath Diablos theme song, which by the way is such a good theme song. I really love it. Off I go into the desert, and at first impression was, okay, he's big, he's tanky, but he's very easy to read. And I'm like, this is okay. But I wasn't underestimating because I knew that there was more gimmicks to him. I just didn't know what it was. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. Like he's like boom, boom, like doing combos. And what caught me, like the big aha moment for phase 1 was when he started roaring. I was like, okay, the roar. And then I'm locked and stunned from his roar, and he instantly charges into you. I was like, that's going to be a problem. And of course, I'm pretty sure I carded to 2 or 3 of those instances where like I was trying to do something, he roared, stunned me, and then just runs right into me. Like if you do not adept dodge or Superman dive the roar, you're pretty much dead, especially as things pick up. After that, there was phase 2 where I didn't notice a big difference in phase 2 other than he's moving a lot faster. He also starts canceling his rushes, which threw me off so much. He's like bolting, and then he stops, and then he like turns, and then he attacks me. I was like, this is crazy. Like this monster is just leveling up. But at no point was I thinking this is bullshit. I'm just thinking this is a intense fight, but he's so like, you can read his moves so good. I was just grinning fighting this monster the whole time. And at one point, I'm like trying to hide behind rocks, trying to heal. I'm like, rock, protect me. And I went behind a little rock, and then Diablos just goes over the rock. He doesn't care. So then I got hide behind a bigger rock. I'm like, okay, protect me here. And I'm like chugging my potions. And all I hear is like this, like, I was like, what the heck's going on? I turn around on the other side of the rock, and Bloodbath Diablos is implanted firmly into the rock. And I'm just like, oh, you silly goose. And I just start hitting him when he's stuck in the rock. I didn't know that Bloodbath Diablos would be susceptible to that, which is pretty funny. And then I'm just fighting him, going back and forth. I did fail the first time, so skip over to the second time I'm going in. Still carding a little bit, fighting, going up to the 15-minute mark, and I start hitting him, and then all of a sudden, the music just drops, and there's this big sound effects, like an explosive sound effect, and he, like, all this steam just blows off of him, and I'm just like, what in the heck is going on? Like, I was so caught off guard by phase 3 transition because it just drops. Like the music picks up, that explosive anger, and then he just starts running and there's steam all around him. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? Like I'm just losing complete control of the fight. It is such a good mental, like for lack of a better word, a mind, I don't curse on this channel, but a mind F, if you know what I mean. The way that they just mess with you as the hunter by changing the music, changing the tempo, changing like the aggressiveness of the monster. I think he becomes more red and blue or something. And then he's digging under the ground, and when he comes out, it like explodes. Oh, and when he charges with the steam, it explodes. Like you just can't be anywhere near him when there's steam. And so it's an intense fight, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die to this for sure. And I'm just going back and forth. I'm like, just remember, like you remember the moves. It's just a little faster. You gotta tighten up your gameplay. Adept dodge this, move here, attack here, heal when you got to. And this kept going back and forth up until, oh man, I didn't even write how long it took me to fight him, but we were getting close to, I'm pretty sure I went over 30 minutes with him. And I was down to like my final healing item. I had used all my first aid plus, I had used all my mega potions, all my potions, everything I brought to craft potions and mega potions. I'd used everything. And finally he starts limping, and I have one last drink. He limps out, I drink. I was like, oh my goodness, we can do this, but I have no more healing potions. Can I capture? And the hunts and the chat's like, no, your pledge is to kill it. You got to kill it. I was like, oh no, because he's going to go to sleep. I have all my capture stuff. I could easily end and win the quest right here. But now the chat's like, I got to kill him, which means I got to wake him up with no healing items. It's do or die. There's no other chance at this. And so I just go in. I just start like washing with my switch. Washing, whatever. Just attacking it. Luckily, I think I broke another horn off of him, which sent him on the ground again. And I just kept chopping up at him. And then finally the victory music went off. And I'm like, oh, just full exhilaration. I'm like, what an amazing fight. What an amazing experience. How the heck am I going to do this with all the other 13 weapons? And I'm already thinking of like, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough with this weapon yet. I can't, how would I even do that with this weapon? And so this pledge is just now getting started, I feel. Now it's going to get interesting how I do things. So the switch axe, boom, off the board. I don't need to play it in GU anymore. Now I got to focus on the other 13 weapons. My next 2 goals is really to take on Bloodbath Diablos with the Charge Blade, which is my second most comfy weapon, and the Longsword, which I thought I was good at it, but I took on the last Deviants last stream or last journal with a bunch of them, and I got destroyed in Longsword. So I'm like, I think Longsword is going to be tough, but it is one of the weapons I've already almost maxed out, Valor Longsword. And I heard it's a really good matchup with Bloodbath Diablos. So I think that's going to be my first real difficulty spike against Bloodbath. Charge Blade, I think will go, Adept Charge Blade will go probably as good as my Switch Axe run. After those 2, I think I'm going to then go after Insect Glaive and Light Bowgun, which those are going to be tough. I can't even imagine how I'm going to deal with this thing as a gunner of all things. And I haven't really thought beyond those weapons. So these first 5 weapons I just named, like those are my most comfortable zone. After that, it's just going to be pain. So there's a lot of pain. Heavy bowgun's going to be pain. The lances are going to be pain. Hunting horn. Oh my goodness. What am I even going to do with that? So Bloodbath's done. Before I take them on with anything else, I need to upgrade my weapons. And I also need to make my gunner set. So I have been farming a tall Ka, and I've got the Charge Blade just about ready to go. I think I just need the mantle to finally finish that one off. For the longsword, I need a few more scalps of the Senator. So I have Senator, so I have to break his shell a few times. And then the gunner set, I think I'm 1 or 2 pieces away from crafting the full gunner set, which is going to let me have my final armor set for Bloodbath with the range weapons. We're still going to go through this. I am so happy that I got to at least kill him once in some capacity before Wilds dropped. That was like one of the goals. I did not want to be introduced to Bloodbath while Wilds was going on. So this is out. Wilds comes out tomorrow when this video drops, so we're good. And I'm going to continue working on this pledge while also playing Wilds. So on this channel, you can expect some GU Wilds overlap as I start my Wilds journey soon. No pledge there. It's just going to be starting off with just enjoying the game and recording my kind of impressions of the game as I go along. So let me know in what order you would like to see the weapons after Light Bowgun. What are the next 2 weapons after that you would want to see? What was your experience with Bloodbath Diablos? And I will see you on the next stream or on the next journal. And until next time, keep it classy.